Hello, my dear students. How are you? This is our SAT Math Real Exam, March 2026. This is the most recent exam, and we will see together how to solve them step by step. These questions, which are varied between the easy ones, the medium ones, and the hard ones. So we can apply the strategies to answer these questions, and we'll start with question number 1. The function W models the weight in ounces of the remaining solid wax of a burning candle as a function of time x. In hours after the candle was lit, the graph is shown. As you can see, according to the model, what was the weight in ounces of the candle's remaining solid wax 12 hours after the candle was lit. So 12 hours means you need to look at the 12 here. And the 12 hours means look at the time, 12, not here, not from this part. So from the horizontal axis, you look at the 12 and you will go through the line until you reach the graphed line here. And then the Y value of this is 10, which makes 10 ounces. So here we are asked to get the weight in ounces of this. So the answer is 10, which is letter C. And then question number 2. In the triangle ABC, the sum of the measures of angle A and angle B is 159.5. What are the measure of angle C? You know that the sum of the interior measure of the angles is always equal to 180 in the triangle. So you can say 180 minus the 159 twice, because this is for 159 for both of them. So just say 180 minus 159. So we have a triangle like this. 159 is the total of these together. So the remaining is 180 minus this 159. The remaining one is 180. So you can just write 180 here in Desmos minus 159.5, and you get 20.5, as you can see here. So the answer is letter A. Question number 3. A local gym is offering a 25% discount of an annual membership. The regular cost of an annual membership is $288. How much less is the discounted price or the discounted cost of the membership than the regular cost of the membership? How much less means the difference between the discounted one and the original or the regular one. The regular is already given 288. So now we can get the discounted amount. Discounted, and if you want to get the difference between the discounted and the regular, that's the discount. So discount is the same as regular minus discounted amount. The regular is already here, and discounted, we don't know the discounted amount, but we do not need to get it. We need to get the discount, and the discount is already given here. The discount is 25%, but 25% of what? 25% of the regular amount, which is 288. And that can be done on Desmos as well. Just write 25%. How to write percent? Just write PERCENT, and then you get everything ready. So write 288, and the answer is equal to 72. That's the discount. And that's the same as the difference between the discounted and the regular. This is the same as discount. For example, if the regular price was 100 and the discount was 10%, so you will pay only 90. How much less? It's only 9. It's only 10. So 100 minus 90 is equal to 10, which is the same as this amount, 10%, which is given here in the question. Question number 4. The table shows 3 values of x and their corresponding values of y. There is a linear relationship between them. So how can we write the equation? Just use Desmos for only 2 values of x corresponding to 2 values of y. Just make a table, press this sign and make a table, and write 0. Press tab on your keyboard, and then gives you the other place to write 8, and then another tab, 1, then tab to write 9. That's enough, because the relationship, if it's a linear one, that's enough to write only 2 of the values. Then you can just click on this sign here, add a regression, make sure that it's a linear regression, and you get the equation y is equal to 1x plus 8, as you can see here. So y is equal to 1x plus 8, which means y equals to x plus 8. The function f is defined by the equation f of x is equal to 380x. What is the value of f of 10? F of 10 means to replace this x by 10, which makes this 10. So 380 by 10, of course, that's very easy, 3,800. We just add another 0 to the number. Question number 6. Which of the following equations has a solution that is 13 and negative 24? If you have a 0 here, this means that every factor can be a 0 alone. So x minus 24, for example, letter A, x minus 24 is equal to 0. Moving 24 gets you the answer of 24. But we do not need 24, we need negative 24, which makes it negative 24 is a wrong answer. So whenever you have a negative 24, like this one or this one, they are incorrect. We need to get positive 24 in between the parentheses in order to get the negative as an answer. So there is a difference between the factor and the solution. The factor, when you have a 0 here, the factor has an opposite sign of the solution. So the 13 here gives you an answer or a solution of negative 13, but we are looking for positive 13. So we are looking for negative 13 in the factor, which makes this one or this one a correct answer. And then what about negative 24? So we need to have 24 inside the question, which makes letter B our correct option. So search for the opposite signs of the 13 and negative 24, which makes it negative 13 with x and positive 24 with x, and then equals 0. This is the option letter B. Question number 7, we have a system of one linear equation and the other one is a quadratic equation, and we need the ordered pair as a solution. How can we get the solution to this? You can answer it just mentally by replacing this y by 0. So this becomes 0. You just move this 36 and you have x squared is equal to positive 36, which makes x positive or negative the square root of 36, which is equal to 6. So 6 is the answer, and the y is equal to 0 already. You can also express this on Desmos by writing the two equations if you have different hard numbers like the other numbers we don't have here. These are easy ones. So you just write y equals 0, and then the other one, y is equal to x squared minus 36. And you can see here that the lines have, the graph has two, you have two graphs here. I mean, the curve, which is the parabola, contains 2 points of intersection with the line that's blue here. The blue line is called the y equals to 0, which is called the x-axis. So we have 2 points, 6 and 0, or negative 6 and 0. One of them is given here, so we just choose it. And question number 8, when a scientist began observing a sample of an isotope, the mass of the sample was 530,000 milligrams. The mass of the sample decreased by half approximately every 5 days. Which of the following is closest to the mass in milligrams of the sample 35 days after that scientist began observing the sample? Here we need to consider the exponential function. The exponential function is always written like this: y is equal to a b to the x. And we can consider that a at the initial value. Initial value is the value that we started with, began with this. So this is a. So we just write y is equal to a, and a is 530,000. And b is what happens to the sample. It's decreased by half. Decreased by half, it's the same as halved. You can just write half, or you can say 1 minus half, or 1 minus 0.5. 1 minus 0.5. You can write it here. 1 minus 0.5, and then the x. X here, that is not the time, it's the periods of time. So it's halved always every 5 days. So in a span of 5 days, day 0 to day 5, it's 1 period. But we have 35 days. We are asked to do 35 days. So we can think about the 35 is here. How many 5-day periods we have here? We have 7 of them. So we can say the time, if it's repeated every 5 days, and we have 35, we can just divide 35 by 5. Or we can just consider x over c. And c here is the word that comes after every. The number that comes after every. And every here means 5. So you can just write the equation again like 35 over 5. But what about y? We don't have y, but we are asked to get the value of y. Because which of the following is close to the mass in milligrams after the scientists began observing the sample. So we just get this on the calculator. You can just use the Desmos to get the value of that. And we write here 530,000 and open the parentheses and write 1 minus half, 0.5. And in exponent, we write 35 over. We can make an exponent like this. And in the exponent, we can make a slash to have two numbers. We have 35 in the numerator and we have 5 in the denominator. And we get the answer, as you see here, 4,140, which is letter A. So writing the equation correctly gives you the correct answer. Question number 9. The height of a right circular cylinder is 31 inches and the circumference of its base is 310 inches. Which expression represents the total surface area of the cylinder? In the surface area, we need to consider one very important formula. It's not written in the formulas given to you. You have to remember that the surface area of the cylinder is equal to 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. Because 2 pi RH is the area of the lateral face, this part here, 2 pi r times h. And we have two circles, and every circle of them has an area of pi r squared. This is why we write 2 pi r squared. If you just remember this formula, you can just apply it. So we have this formula right here, and we need to get to write everything inside. 2 pi, and then r, and r is the radius. The radius here, the radius is not given directly. We need to grab the radius from the question itself. The height is given as 31, but the circumference is 310. What is the circumference? Circumference is always equal to 2 pi r. So instead of this 2 pi r, we can replace it by c, which is the circumference, and it's already given here. So we can replace this c or this 2 pi r by the number 310. So we can write the surface area is equal to 2 pi r. This part is called the circumference. We can replace it by 310. And then h is equal to 31, the height, plus 2 pi r squared. 2 pi and then r squared. How can we get r? R is not given, but we have the circumference. So as we mentioned before, you can use this formula to get the value of R. How can we use this formula? C is equal to 310. 2 pi R. 2 pi times R. How to get R? Divide by 2 pi in both of these two sides. Okay, then 2 pi cancels 2 pi. We have R here. R is equal to this value. 310 over 2 pi. It's equal to 155 over pi. If you want to simplify this 2 with 310, you get 155 up and pi down here. And that's the answer. So we can search for this without any simplifying. You can find the answer, letter D. So the formula here is very important to consider. And we need to memorize this one. Question number 10, the function f of w is equal to 6w squared gives the area of the rectangle in square feet. If its width is w feet and its length is 6 times its width, which of the following is the best interpretation of that f of 13 is equal to this number? So f of 13, w here is replaced by 13, which makes w equal to 30. And what is the meaning of W here? W is the width. So the width is equal to 30. This is the first part of the information that we have. So we can write W is equal to 13, or we can say the width is 13. And then we search for the other number. This number is what? Is the function itself. So the function is called what? The area. So we have the area of 1014. So let's search for these two words or two expressions or two pieces of information inside the options. The width of the rectangle is 13 feet. That's correct. And the area is this number. That's right, without any doubts. The width, what about letter B? The width of the rectangle is 13, yes, but the length is not the length. The answer here is always the F, not the length. F is the area. What about letter C? The width is this number? Of course not. The width is this number? Also not correct. So the answer is letter A. The expression 3x plus 5 times 8x minus 4 minus 7 can be rewritten in this form. A, B, and C are constants. What's the value of A plus B? How can we do that? How can we distribute? We need to know how to distribute the polynomials or the binomials multiplied. So 3x times 8x is equal to 24x squared. And 3x times negative 7 is negative 21x. Be careful about dealing with the negative signs. And then 5 times 8x is equal to plus 40x. And then 5 times negative 7 is equal to negative 35. We need to modify this by combining these two numbers together. We have 24x squared, and then negative 21 plus 40 is equal to what? Is equal to positive 19x. And then we have negative 35. Just now compare this by this. You can get everything. A is the coefficient of x squared, which is 24. B is the coefficient of x, which is 90. The question says find A plus B. So A plus B is equal to 24 plus 90, which is equal to 43. This is our answer for this question. Number 12, the ratio A to B is equivalent to the ratio 49 to 26. What is the value of A when B is equal to 182? In this kind of questions, we need to write the ratio to be the value of A or B. Maybe you can use Desmos by writing the square brackets like this. Make the square brackets and put the tilde symbol between them and make a fraction bar here and a fraction bar in the other side. So you can get the answers by writing the value of A to B, the ratio of A to B. So we can write here A over B, and in the right side, the same ratio as 49 to 26, 49 and 26. And then we have some numbers. Don't consider these numbers as your answers because we did not give the entire information. We still have some numbers. B is equal to 182, and we need to get the value of A. So we make a comma here and write B, and we come here and write a comma again and write 182. So now we give them the idea of getting, the whole idea of the question. Everything is given in the equation. So B is equal to 182. This is another piece of information to be considered. And now we have A 343. You can also replace, instead of writing the B here, you can erase all of this and write 182 instead of the B itself here. This is also another idea to be done, 182. And you get the same value of A. That's okay. You can use this or that one. Number 13, at the beginning of the year, Imani has $170 in her account. Each month this year, she will deposit between 30 and 60 into the account, which inequality represents all the possibilities for the total amount of money X in dollars in Imani's account after 10 months of deposits this year. So we can say that we have the word between. Between means that that the value is between two numbers. But here we have 170 at the beginning. And each month, she deposits maybe 30 or 60 or any number in between them. So we can first consider 30. If she deposits only 30 for 10 months, what is the amount? 30 times 10. But we still have 170. So we can calculate this. 300 plus 170 is equal to 470. This is the first amount if we consider 30 as the deposit amount. What about 60? So we can also consider 60 times 10 because we have 10 months. And then we already have 170 in the beginning. We need to add them using the formula y is equal to mx plus b. This is our main formula of the linear equation. Mx means something times something plus something which is initially mentioned here. At the beginning means at the start or in the initial value or the y-intercept. So we can calculate this. 600 plus 170 is 770. So because we have something between these, so the answer is between these, which makes letter D our correct answer. Number 14, this is our function, and in the xy plane, the graph of this function is the result of translating the graph of y equals f of x up 6 units. So this is f of x. We need to move this or shift this 6 units up. And then we need to get the y-intercept that produced after this shift. So we do not need to get the y-intercept of the f. We need to get the y-intercept of y is equal to h of x. H of x is the same as f of x, but shifting 6 units up. How can we do that? We can just draw them on the Desmos, writing f of x like this equals, make 3 pairs of parentheses and write x minus 2. And here, x minus 8. Minus 8. And the third one, we write x plus 3. We have this diagram here. We have this graph, and we go down, enter, and write y is equal to h of x. And this h of x is equal to the same as f of x, but 6 units up, which makes y, or h of x, can write it like this, h of x is equal to f of x f of x plus 6. Plus 6 because we just added 6 units up. So we have to write the 6 outside here. And it's blue. You can see this red one here. You can just zoom in a little bit to see this one. The red one is f of x, but we need to search for h of x. And h of x here, so just hide this one. H of x is the blue one, and it has a y-intercept here of 54. So 54 is the y-intercept. So we are asked to get the y-intercept of the h of x, not f of x, because f of x, if you just hide this one, it has another y-intercept, which is 48. So we have to move it up 6 units. So get h of x, not this one. Number 15, a circle has a circumference of 28 pi. What is this diameter? We have a relationship between the diameter and the circumference, which says circumference equals to pi d. Just remember this. This is very simple. Just write the circumference of 28 pi, and pi d, just keep it pi d. If you just compare or divide by pi and go to the two sides, you get d equals to 28, which is our answer. Number 16, how many solutions does this equation have? In this kind of questions, we need to consider the 3 cases that we have here. 3 cases say, one of them says that a1x plus b1 is equal to, this is not the first case, this is the general rule. Let's try the general rule here. a1x plus b1 equals to a2x plus b2. If a1 is equal to a2 and b1 is equal to b2, this has infinitely many solutions. This is the first case. Second case, if a1 is equal to a2, but b1 is not equal to b2, here we have no solution. And the third case, when A1 is not equal to A2. No need to search for B. In this case, we have one solution. So how can we do that? We need to distribute this 5 here. So we can write the first part, 35x minus 25 is equal to, and then distribute this. 5 times 7 is 35x, and then 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. A1 is equal to A2. B1 is equal to B2. So everything is equal, so that's infinitely many solutions, letter C. Number 17, on January 1st, 2000, the population of the town was 26,257. And on January 1st, 2010, I mean after 10 years, it became this 26,858. The equation here represents this, describes this situation. Which of the following is the best interpretation of the x here? So x here is the coefficient. We can consider the coefficient of the 10. And 10 here is the 10 years that passed between 2000 to 2010, 10 years. And this x must contain the word per year, or each year, or every year. So the total increase in the population between, no, it's not total. It's the increase in every year, because it's related to a number. So A is not correct. B, the projected population of the town 10 years after this, no, the population after this is also the total, which is this number. Letter C, the average increase per year of the population between this and, yeah, that's the correct one, per year. So we have this answer, letter C. Why not D? The percentage is not a percentage, it's just a number. X here is not a percentage, it's not mentioned as a percentage. It's the difference between this and this should be divided by 10. So no percentage here. The answer is letter C. Question number 18. For the linear function f of negative 5 is equal to negative 7, and the slope is slope of y is equal to f of x, and the xy plane is equal to 3. Which equation defines f? So we can say that the slope is equal to 3. It means whenever you increase the value of x by 1, this should be increased by 3. So we can think about it like this. This is x and this is y. Okay, increasing x by 1 gives an increase of 3 on y. That's how to consider the slope. So the slope is the change in y that relates to the change on x. So negative 5 and negative 7, if we increase this negative 5 by 1, it becomes negative 4. But you have to increase this by 3 because that's the slope. Negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4 as well. Now we can write this on Desmos as a table, and that gives you the answer easily in just less than 1 minute. So write negative 5 with negative 7, and write negative 4 and negative 4. And then just click here to get that equation ready. So y is equal to 3x plus 8. That's our equation, which is letter A. A very simple method to answer it. Question number 19. In the xy plane, an equation of circle A is this. Circle B has the same center as circle A, but has a radius that is twice the radius of A. So we need to get the radius of A first. The radius of A is not 25. The radius of A is 5, which is the square root of 25. And the radius of B is twice the radius of A, which means 10. But when you write the equation of B, we need to consider 10 squared, because the formula says x minus h squared plus y minus k all squared is equal to r squared. So this is r squared. Sorry, this one is r squared, which makes the r is equal to 5 of the circle A. But the radius of circle B is double the 5 to get 10. So when you write it here, write 10 squared, and 10 squared is equal to 100. So 100 is only given here. Letter B is the answer. Question number 20. Line K contains the points. These 2 points are given fully, but this one has a missing value of V. What is the value of V? Because it's a line, you can write this line on Desmos as 2 points only, and then we get the value of V by considering this. So we can use the table, we delete this one, use the same table, just erase this and write -3, tab, write -60, tab, write 5 and 76. And then we get this equation here. You can just click this on the regression, and we have this equation. Why you just click on it, and we have this one. How to get the value of v if you have y equals 0? So we can write 0 here. You write 0 here, you get the value of x, as you can see on Desmos. You can just click home, and maybe you can zoom in until you reach this point. The point is, as you can see here, so it's 0.52941. It can be written like this in the exam, like this, 0.529. That's enough. Or you can just put this on the calculator, maybe the regular one. You can write 0.52941 equals, maybe sometimes you press SD, you get the fraction, but it's okay to write as a decimal. The fraction is also considered 9/17. How can we get this? You can apply this formula here. You write the formula y is equal to 17x minus 9. If you put 0 instead of y, so 0 is equal to 17x minus 9. Move this 9, so 17x is equal to 9. Divide by 17, you get the value of x, which is v here, as 9/17. So 9/17 is a correct answer. This one is also a correct answer after replacing this y by 0. You get the number of 0.529. You can just write it like this. Question number 21. We have this right triangle, and the angle here is 60. This is an easy one because the question says what the value of cosine f. Too many ways to answer this question, but the easiest way is, if you know that this is 90-degree angle, this is 60, so this is 30. The angle here is equal to 30. What is cosine of 30? We just get cosine of 30 by the calculator without mentioning any of the sides. Cosine 30 is equal to this number, but this number is not written as a fraction. You can just use the regular calculator if you want to use it. Cosine 30 is equal to square root 3/2, which is letter C. So cosine 30, because f here is equal to 30, as we have these two complementary angles. And now we are reading question number 22. Based on a model on day 1 of an 8-day experiment, a lima bean plant has an estimated mass of 253 grams. And each day after day 1 of the experiment, the estimated mass decreased by 4 grams. Which equation represents this? So here we need to consider the modification of the linear function. So y is equal to mx plus b should not be considered here. We need to consider y is equal to m into x minus 1 plus b. Why minus 1? Because we start our calculation of the word each day after day 1, which makes each, which is m, multiplied by x minus 1. We exclude the 1 day of our calculation. So we start calculating of day 2, which makes the x here the number of days after day 1, which makes x minus 1 our option. If the question says after 3 days, we need to write x minus 3 and so on. And the initial amount b is 253, should be written here, and x minus 1, and m is that number with word each. Each day we decrease by 4, which means -4. Y. But y here is mentioned as m, no problem. We just write m. So m is equal to -4. We distribute it. -4 times x is -4x. And -4 times -1 is +4. And then we write plus 253. These two terms should be combined because they are numbers. So m is equal to -4x. And 4 plus 253 is 257, which gives the option letter D. And then module 2 of the exam. A total of 255 people registered for a city's annual race as either a runner or a walker. 210 registered as a runner. How many people registered as walker? That's very easy one. Just subtract. This is the total, and these are the runners So we need to get the workers, just subtract 255 minus 210, and you get 45, letter D. Question number 2, it says the scatter plot shows the temperature in degree Fahrenheit and the elevation in feet measured at 6 locations on the mountain. A line at best fit is also shown. Okay, at an elevation of 4,000 feet, what is the temperature and F predicted by the line of the best fit? So be careful when you consider the line of best fit. For example, if we are talking about the number, let's say number 1,000. 1,000, when I say predicted, I will not go to this point. Predicted means stop at the line. So when I say always predicted, you need to stop at the line, not the point itself. So at 4,000 feet, this is the feet, this is the 4,000, we go up here and we stop here. This point has a Y value of 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So the temperature in Fahrenheit is equal to 30, letter B. Number 3, we have this system of equations. We have a linear equation and a parabola, which represents a quadratic equation. The graph of a system of linear equation and the quadratic equation is showing what is the solution. The solution here is not these points. These 2 points is the solution of the quadratic equation alone, but not to the system. The solution to the system is this point, which makes the intersection of the 2 graphs. And this point has an x value of -3 and y value of 2. So -3 and 2, we always read the x value first. Question number 4. This is an absolute value function. What is the positive solution to this given equation? I mean, yeah, very simple. If you need to get the positive solution, so we can consider this absolute value x as x. Because now it's a positive solution. Divide by 5, you get the answer of 7. Question 5. During an experiment, a particle's speed was 41 feet per second. What is this speed in feet per minute? So we need to consider the fraction to write this. 41 feet per second. How can we change this to be feet per minute? We can write it here. Feet per second means over 1 second. How can we change this to be feet also, but by per minute? Per minute means need to change this to be minutes. How can we change the second to minute? The second is the smaller unit. So we need to divide by 60 in order to get the number of minutes. For example, if you have 120 seconds, this means how many minutes? It means 2 minutes. How did you get it? Just divide by 60. So we divide always the number of seconds by 60 to get the number of minutes. And now this is the part that we need to write. So we can make a fraction bar. Of course, we do not need to write the units now because we know that this is a feet per minute. Above in the numerator, write 41, and in the denominator, write 1 divided by. We need to write this word, this sign divided by, maybe a fraction bar and write 60. That's okay. Or maybe you can write it like this. 1 divided by 60, both are the same. You get 2,460, which is letter D. Then question number 6, a rectangle has a length of 100 centimeters and a width of 400. What is the area in square centimeters? Of course, the area of the rectangle is equal to the length times the width. And because both of them are given in centimeters, we do not worry about any conversion. We do not convert into meters or something. The length times the width. Length is 100 and the width is 400. 100 times 400. Of course, the answer is 40,000, which is this answer, letter C. Question number 7, the function f is defined by this. What is the value of x when x is equal to 10? That's very simple. Just replace this x by 10. So we have 10 squared plus 79. It gives us 100 plus 79, which is 179, but positive, of course, letter D. Question number 8. What is the x-intercept of the graph of this function in the xy plane where a and b are positive constants? In this kind of questions, Desmos is very helpful tool here that you can use. We can write the equation as it is. We write y equals to, and make a slash to make a fraction bar. Right in the numerator, write 45 minus x, and down here we write ax plus b, and press equal. And then it gives you something called the slider. The slider, make sure that the slider has a and b positive values. A is 1, b is 1. Why positive? Because the question mentioned so. A and b are positive constants. So we have, whenever we have 1 and 1, it's okay. You can increase the numbers, but it's okay to leave them like this. Just click on this and see that the question asking about what? About the x-intercept, which means this point right here. You just move this way and then click here. You can find it very clear. 45 and 0. What happens if we increase the value of A or increase the value of B? Increasing is okay. You get the same answer. If you zoom out, you can notice that when you decrease the value of A, it's, but make sure that it's positive. And also B, positive. It does not change the value of the x-intercept, which is 45 and 0. So 45 and 0 is the answer to this question. Number 9, Kyra spent $74 at a book sale and bought a total of 22 books. She bought H hardcover books for $4 each and P paperback books for $3 each. Which system of equations present this one? So be careful to write the dollars, all the dollars in the same equation. And we have 4, you need to consider the order also. 4 for the hardcover. So 4H. So but H hardcover for 4 each. 4 times H. Plus P times 3. So 3P. And this is the amount of money. 4 and 3. So the amount of money, which is also mentioned in the same line, is this 74. So we have to write 74 here. 74. But after that, we have another equation that contains the number of books, which is here. Number of books is hard cover and the paperback, a total of 22 books, no money here. So the first equation is for the money and the second equation for the number of items. So we can choose the equation that gives this amount, 4H plus 3P is equal to 74 and H plus P is equal to 22, which is letter B. Here is question number 10. We have the system and the solution of the system of the equations is x and y. What is the value of x? So we can write the solution as graph. We can write 2x plus 7y is equal to 58. And press enter and write y is equal to 6. And we just zoom in to find the solution. The solution is the point of intersection here, 8 and 6. But which one to take, 8 or 6? The question says find the value of x, which makes 8 the correct answer. So 8 is our answer for this question. Number 11, we have a table. The table summarizes the distribution of average pitching speed in miles per hour. MPH means miles per hour, for a sample of 24 pitches in a youth football league, softball league. And as you can see, this is a very easy question because according to the table, how many pitches in the sample have an average pitching speed of at least 30, but less than 35. It's given in the question the same, at least 30 MPH, but less than 35. It's exactly as the first line here. So the answer is equal to 12, which is letter A. Question number 12. Which expression represents this or is equivalent to this? Equivalent means we need to make something in this polynomial. We can factorize. How to factorize this? You can look at the factorization has 2 steps. Look at the numbers and then look at the variables or the letters. In the numbers, take the greatest number that you can divide all of them by. We can divide 18 and 9 and 9 by 3. That's okay. You can also divide by 1, but 1 does not make any change. But you can get the greatest number to divide, which is 9. You can divide all of these 3 numbers by 9. So we get 9 outside, and then let's look at the letters. The letters, if we have common letter, what the meaning of common? Common means it's here and here and here in the 3 terms. And note that the terms have a separators of plus and minus. So this is a term and another term. The three terms, not all of them contain x. So x is not a common one. So we cannot take x, just open the parentheses and divide all of them by this 9. So 18 divided by 9 is equal to 2, and then drop x squared, plus 9 divided by 9 is 1, but drop x, 1x means x. And then 9 divided by 9 is 1, but we don't have x, so we have to write 1. That's how to write the answer, which is letter C. And then question number 13. A bag contains only yellow marbles and red marbles. The probability of selecting a yellow marble from the bag is 8/17. What's the probability of selecting a red marble from the same bag? So the probability of selecting something, and we already have knowing that the other amount, the other probability is given, just subtract 1 minus the answer. For example, if your probability of winning a game is 7 out of 10, the probability of losing the game is 3 out of 10. How did you get it? You can say 1 minus 7 out of 10, 7 over 10. So because we have only these two options, yellow or red, so the option, the probability of getting the red is given is 1 minus the probability of the yellow. So 1 minus 8/17, which is equal to 9/17. That's our answer. Question number 14, the price of an item increased by P% from this to this. What is the value of P? So P% is called the percent of increase, which makes the difference over the original. We need to consider a formula here. The formula says what? Percent of increase is equal to the difference over the original multiplied by 100. That's a very simple method to use when you have the percentage of increase or decrease, increase of percentage. So P% means P itself. We need to get the P itself. So we can say the difference. What is the difference between 90 and 93? It's only 3. Over the original. Original is the 90, which is before. And then we multiply this by 100. Okay, we can get it as a fraction or as a decimal. That's okay. You can just write 3/90 or 3/90 like this. And then multiply it by 100 to get 10/3. 10/3 is our answer. Or you can write it as 3.33, for example. 3.33 is also a correct answer. Question number 15. 6x is equal to 9. What is the value of 48x? In this kind of questions, no need to get the value of x itself. No need to waste your time. If you have 6x is equal to 9, how can we change 6x to be 48x? Just multiply it by 8. So multiply here by 8. Multiply here also by 8. Because 6 times 8 is 48x, and 9 times 8 is equal to 72. So the answer is 72 without making any effort. Number 16, the number of cells of the bacteria, Bacillus megatherium doubles every 25 minutes during its growth period when placed in a medium of sucrose salts. In a controlled laboratory environment, if the sample of 530 cells of Bacillus megatherium is placed in the sucrose salts in a controlled laboratory environment. So this is the amount we started with. Which function f gives or best represent the number of cells of the bacteria x minutes after the growth period begins, where x is less than the number of minutes in the growth period. So of course, we have some, let's say, keywords here in the question. Doubles every, we have this cells, placed, maybe you can consider as the value of the initial amount. And then we can consider only these. So double, if you remember the formula of the exponential function, y is equal to a b to the power of x over c. C is always connected with the word every. And B is the increase or decrease. And when it says doubles, we say it's 2. And the X is mentioned as X, no change. And the A here is the initial amount. So we can write it again, but instead of Y, we just write f of X. So f of X is equal to A. A is the initial amount, which is 530. And then B is what happens to the amount given in the beginning. We doubled it. Doubled means make it 2. To the power of X over the word every 25. That's it. So we choose letter C for that. Of course, the word double is enough. We choose 2 because 2 here is the only given one, but this is just in case. Question number 17, we have this quadratic equation, and when the given function p is graphed in the xy plane where y is equal to p over x, the y-intercept of this graph is 0 and y. What is the y here? Of course, if you know that this is called the standard form, and in the standard form, the y-intercept is given, which is 12. You can just get it like this. Or you can say the value of y-intercept is 0 and y, so replace x by 0, so this becomes 0, this becomes 0, so we are left with y, with the y is equal to 12. Number 18, the given table gives 3 values of x and their corresponding values of h of x. Which equation could define h? Of course, this is an exponential equation, not a linear one. So how can we express this? We need to write this on Desmos, but writing on Desmos without the table, because in the exponential function, the table is not accurate. So we can just 0 and 15 as a point. Look, 0 and 15, 0, and then comma, write 15. Equal, enter, and then 1 and 16, another 1. 1, comma, 16. And then 2 and 18, another pair of parentheses, so 2 and 18. These are the 3 points. We can zoom in to see them well. And then we can graph any of these. Let's try graphing h of x is equal to 2 to the x plus 14. We can write it here, h of x. We just need to change the numbers. Equals to 2 to the exponent of x. We can write the exponent here, x, and then plus 14. And see the graph. What happens to the graph? Yeah, the graph passes exactly on the 3 points. What if we change the 14 and make it 13, for example? Look at what happens. 13. 13. Look, it's not passing through the 3 points. What about the 2? It's not at all close to the points. What if you just remove this number and keep 2 power x like letter D? It's away from the 3 points. So the correct one comes after you write plus 14, which gives you the precise graph that passes through all of them. This is the best way to solve this kind of questions. So the answer is letter A. Number 19. For the linear function f, the graph of y is equal to f of x in the xy plane has a slope of -5 and passes through the point 2 and -4. How can we write the equation? Also, Desmos is a very useful tool here, but you remember that the point is 2 and -4. We answered a similar question before, 2 and -4. Whenever you have a slope, the slope of -5 means increase the value of y by 1, but increase the value of 4 by -5. So add 1 to the 2, but add -5 to this -4. So 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, but -4 plus -5 is equal to -9. Why do we do that? This is a very simple method. Write these 2 points on Desmos, and then you get the equation without, but just click on the table and write 2 and -4. And here we write 3 and -9. That's it. You get the equation ready for you. -5x plus 7, y is equal to -5x plus 7 plus 6, sorry, -5x plus 6, which is letter D. Here we have a shaded region of the inequality. This is an inequality graphed, and you need to consider something. If you put your hand like this, the graph, the shaded region is below your hand or above your hand? It's below. Below means y is less than. That's very simple. That's very simple here. Y is always less than in this curve. So maybe A, maybe B. So we eliminate C and D. Y is not greater than anything. Y is less than. It comes down. It moves down. But then the the slope, because here it's not a discriminant to choose the y-intercept. Y-intercept is always 12. But the problem comes in the slope. How can we get the slope? The slope here is the rise over run. You can use the rise over run. Start with a point like this and an end point like this. Rise is from here to here. This is called the rise. And then the run is here. How many units we moved from -4 to this point? It's from 0 to 12. It's 12 units up. And right, we moved from -4 to 0, which is 4. So 12 over 4, which is equal to 3. And the slope is positive, as you can see, because it's increasing. So the 3 is the slope. So y is equal to 3x. And then it's not equal, it's less than, y is less than 3x. And then the y-intercept is 12 plus 12. So we choose letter B. You can also consider using Desmos in this kind of questions. If you have some difficulties dealing with these, you can use Desmos to compare your graph with the graph given here. So for example, y is less than, like this, and write 1 over 3x, 1 over 3x plus 12. What happens to the graph? You should just look at this. It's not the same. Look at this line, it's not the same as the same slope of this line. So maybe we just change the 1 over 3 and make it 3. Look at what happens. It's exactly the same. Look at the parallel line. This is parallel to this one. Okay, this number 20. And then we go to question 21. Here we have two triangles. Of course, they are similar. In the figure shown, D, E, and F are the constants, and the values of K is 2. So we multiply, this is F, this is KF, which means 2F. It's double F. So if this is 10 centimeters, this will be 20, and so on. If the measure of angles D, E, and F are 42x and 2x plus 12, where are these angles? D, E, and F. D, E, and F. So the total of this, of the measures of the interior measures of the angle of the triangle is always 180. So you can get the value of x. And then what is the measure of angle S? How can we get S? Of course, if they are similar, you know that. How did you know that they are similar? Because every side is multiplied by something to get the corresponding side. D is multiplied by something here, by the same thing, which makes them proportional, something called proportional. Proportional means not equal, but they are multiplied always by the same amount, like K. So they are similar. And when they are similar, angle S is equal to angle F, which is opposite to it. Okay, so if you want to get the measure of angle S, you can get the measure of angle F. But how can we get F here? We have a total of 42 and X and this. The total should be equal to 180. So we can write this on Desmos, and we consider getting the value of X. So you can say here 42 plus X plus 2x plus 12 equals 280. Because the question gives you a graph, it's okay, no problem. Just zoom out and see where the line is. Here, the value of x. X is always on the x-intercept, 42. So x is equal to 42. But we do not need to get the value of x only. We need to get the value of the measure of angle F. And angle F here is the last of the 3 letters, which is this. This belongs to D, X belongs to E, but F is this one. So we can write here 2x plus 12, but 2, and instead of x, we write this number 42, and then plus 12. We replace x by 42, and the answer is 96. Question number 22, our last question. How many distinct real solutions does this equation have? There is a very easy method on Desmos. Just use it on Desmos and write everything. But you consider this only. No need to write the 0. You can write y instead of 0, or just write 3x squared, 3x here squared, minus 13x plus 19, and you get this graph. You just zoom minus 19, plus 19, sorry. And if you zoom here, how many solutions is how many points of intersection does this graph have with the x-axis? This is our x-axis. It does not intersect with this curve, which makes it no solution. So 0 solution is our answer to this question. You can also consider b squared minus 4ac and see the three cases of them. Is it greater than 0 to have two solutions? If it's equal to 0 to have one real solution, if it's less than 0, no solution. So we can consider this also, but it takes some more time. Writing them on the Desmos saves too much time. I hope you got something today, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye.